If you just make a decision, it can be sometimes the day that starts you on a brand new journey. Sometimes when you look back on it, the day that you decided was just about as exciting as the day when you finally accomplished the project. That when you finally made the decision, you finally, got through whatever barriers kept you from making that decision, and finally you made a decision. Now, some decisions are incidental and some are small, and some, are part of a working day. But sometimes decision making can be one of the most important days of your life. Maybe a decision you've postponed, and now you understand the penalty of postponing that decision. You've got to do something, and finally you come to the conclusion, today is the day. I now decide. And whether you decide on a new direction, whether you decide on a refinement in philosophy, whether you decide to act when before you haven't acted, you decide on a series of things that you're going to do, you decide. Deciding can be such an incredibly important, very exciting, inspirational day. So that can be an incredible source of inspiration. Now, if you don't follow through, it's not going to last all that long. If you decide and then, postpone and you decide but you still don't get to it for a week or a month or a year, soon all that energy and that source of inspiration is all dissipated. So deciding is inspiring, but not for that long. But once you decide, it can be a very powerful day. But now, of course, you must follow through. If there's some things you've been postponing, some decisions you have just, haven't gotten to, I would ask you to just, take out your journal and just go through, what have I been postponing that's not going to be better for my health? It's not going to be better for my future. It's not going to enhance my finances. Maybe a problem needs to be solved. I got to decide when I'm going to do it and how I'm going to proceed. I need to get to it. I promise you, if you'll go through some of that list and start making those decisions, your inspiration will start to flow, and those could be very critically important, exciting days. Here's the next one. Planning. Now that you've decided and you start making plans, it's incredible what can happen as a source of inspiration. When finally what's in your head, what's in your imagination, now finally starts to take shape on paper. I had a concept of what I wanted. I had a dream of what could happen for me. If it could happen for others, maybe it could happen for me. But when I started putting it on paper and started making the plans, that was an incredible source of inspiration for me. Because the plans seemed to now start making it real. That what I had thought about, what I dreamed about, now I'm actually getting to it by making a plan. You can make all the plans in the world, and it is a source of inspiration for only so long. And you can make one plan, and then you can make another plan. And you can make some plans today, and the next day you can make some more plans, and the next day you can make some more plans. And it is a very exciting source of inspiration, but only for a while. I'm sure we would all agree that making plans, that inspiration wouldn't last for a week. Now, that inspiration now must drive you to do number 3. The first source of inspiration is deciding. Second source of inspiration is planning. And now, here's a big source of inspiration, beginning. Getting started. Actually turning thought and the notes on the paper, the plans, actually now committing it to action. Getting started. And beginning can be an incredible source of inspiration. Guess what you can say when you begin a change in your diet? I'm on a new track. I have carved out for myself a new beginning. I'm on my way to the most incredible health. I will never be the same again. I'm leaving the old, undisciplined part of me. I'm leaving that behind. I'm a new person. I'm taking my first shake. I'm swallowing the first tablets. I made my first, walk around the block that I'd thought about for so long and never did. I finally did it today. I've started. I have begun. That is an incredible source of inspiration. And that is to start to begin. You cannot believe what can happen to your self-esteem. And many of you have already experienced it. I'm just asking you to begin something new in all the areas of your life. Maybe you've always thought about benevolence and you just haven't gotten started, or you haven't made the plans, or you haven't made the decision. I'm asking you to start taking that stuff now that's in your head, that imagination, which is very powerful. And it's a great source of inspiration in itself. But then I'm asking you then to decide, use that inspiration. Then I'm asking you to make plans, begin to make plans, use that inspiration. And then if you take that first step, it can be the first step of an incredible journey. And so beginning can be an incredible source of inspiration. And beginning can be many things. Beginning a new commitment to learning. You say, I'm going to have a library second to none, and I bought the first book of my new library today. I'm going to be surrounded by information and inspiration. The cassette tapes and the videos and the books. I'm going to have a library second to none. I've thought about it. Wouldn't it be wonderful? I've started making plans. I've provided some space in my room for my expanded library. But here's what's exciting. I got the first book today. I've gotten started. This is just the first of many, many books. This is the first of a whole flow of information for me. This is the first time. Beginning is a fantastic source of inspiration. Planning is an incredible source of inspiration. Deciding is an unbelievable source of inspiration. But now beginning only lasts so long. If you begin that first week and then you don't continue, yes, you'll be inspired by deciding and planning and beginning. But all of that now will start to fade away if you don't do number 4. One of the great sources of inspiration is progressing. Once you've gotten started, now you proceed, you progress. Now you go to class the second week, you go to class the third week. But it's not only progressing in terms of time, it's progressing in terms of what you're learning, progressing in terms of getting the information that you hadn't discovered before. Now you're excited about that. Progress. One of the greatest sources of inspiration is progress. When you start jogging around the block, and at first it's a little difficult, and then it's 2 blocks, and then you go around 4 or 5 times. But then you notice you're breathing easier. You notice when you go up a flight of stairs, you're not out of breath. And it suddenly occurs to you, in a fairly short period of time, you're making progress. Then when you start making progress in your business, your ability to make contacts, your ability to talk to people. Being so shy, you decided one day, hey, I've had enough with being too shy. I've made the decision. I'm making some plans. I'm going to begin talking to people. And you start, and at first it's difficult. But then very quickly, and it doesn't take a year, I'm telling you, it doesn't take a month, it doesn't take a week. I promise you, even though you're a little bit shy, if you'll just start to introduce yourself, if you'll just start to talk to someone you've never talked to before, just get started. I promise you, in a fairly short period of time, because 2 things are happening. One is deciding to overcome a liability, but also understanding that with this new skill now, with this new ability, and with my progress, no telling what I can accomplish. Because if I can get over the fear of talking to one, I can get over the fear of talking to number 10, number 50, number 100. And by the time I get to number 50 and number 100, my self-confidence is going to be so strong, my self-esteem is going to be so high, my new skill is going to show such incredible progress that I will never look back on the old ways. Now here's the next one. Source of inspiration, and that is achieving. When you finally have arrived at that goal that you set, I want to have this much experience and be able to do this by 30 days from now, 60 days from now, 6 months from now. And finally, that 6 months passes, and there you are. Finally, the time passes, and you have it. Finally, the time passes, and the skill is now beginning to be polished, and it is so unique and effective. Achieving is an incredible source of inspiration. But here's what we notice. When you do achieve, whatever you set out in the beginning, where you decided and planned and you got started and you progressed, when you finally achieve, that achievement is not much more inspiration than when you decided. It's a different kind of inspiration. It's a different kind of feeling to having arrived. Knowing that you've got many other objectives to accomplish, many other places you want to go, things you want to do, the person you want to become. But at least I've got this one. I've done this one. I remember way back when I wanted to do the training and I wanted to do teaching, I would like to do seminars, because I saw people that had such a magnificent effect on their audience. They used the language to such an unbelievable degree. I could tell that something was mixed from their heart and their soul and their mind and their vocabulary, and this mixture of stuff together presented to someone's ears to hear and a heart maybe to believe and a mind to understand that the most incredible magic could occur. I thought to myself, if I could possibly do that, it would be the greatest feeling in the world. What you've wished for and what you've dreamed for, if you will draw from the source of deciding, that inspiration, and the inspiration of planning, the inspiration of beginning, and the inspiration of progressing, then you will know this incredible inspiration of achieving, of finally getting there, finally being the person, finally accomplishing the goal. We are becoming wealthy by creating wealth. You can't have a much more exciting experience than that. Next, I wrote down, we are changing by creating change. By helping others to change, we change ourselves. And sometimes we decide to make some changes the very same day we're trying to help someone to change for the better. We're trying to help them change their mind. We're trying to help them change their position. We're trying to help them change their plan, refine it so that it works better. And as we do that, we suddenly find ourselves changing. Now, making mental notes as we go. As I am now teaching, as I'm helping someone to change, by the way, I'm going to start making the changes. It is a powerful experience we can have with all of this happening simultaneously at the same time. Next, we progress by creating progress. We create progress for others. We get them to grow. And by helping them to grow, we grow. By helping them to succeed, we succeed. Next, we become happy by creating happiness. When we put a new pin on someone and it creates this incredible joy for them that they finally arrived, they did the meetings, they did the classes, they did all the stuff, now they've arrived. We create this happiness for them by putting the pin on, giving them a hug and giving them our congratulations. We create happiness for them, but it simultaneously raises our level of happiness to an incredible degree. We learn to see by creating sight in others. If we can help them to see, we can see. We develop our vision by inspiring vision. We develop sight for someone. We develop a future for someone. And our future automatically then starts to develop and starts to grow and starts to expand as we develop vision for others. Sources of inspiration. If you're like most people, having to is a lot stronger than wanting to. But often, and especially when you're young, that difference isn't always clear until someone points it out to you. In my own life, it was my mentor, the late Mr. Earl Schoaf, who pointed out the distinction between wanting to on the one hand and really wanting to, or even having to, on the other. By doing so, Mr. Schoaf did me a great favor, and after we'd talked about this, I felt for the first time I was really pointed in the direction of success. The way it happened was really very simple and straightforward. Mr. Schoaf simply took me aside one day and said, "Jim, you have enough talent and intelligence to really accomplish a lot in life, but you just don't have enough reasons to make it happen." When I heard that, something clicked inside my head. This was truly a key insight, a turning point in my life. I had always doubted if I had enough ability to be successful, but suddenly I realized that having enough ability was not the problem. The problem was having enough reasons. We need all the help we can get in terms of motivation, but of course different people are motivated by different things. In order to be successful, you need this very internal, very personal, very unique thing called strong character. But in order to acquire that innermost quality and set it to work, you need people other than yourself as reasons to believe.